Hello, this is Compound Interest Stock Guy. Today in this video, I'm just going to go through the cannabis companies, as well as I'm going to try to get into the commodities, and I'm going to share a pick that I've talked about in the past and I've played with calls and I've made money on, and it's just some company that I think is very set up if silver does very good. So stay tuned. If you're new to the channel, don't be shy. Subscribe. And sure, give me a thumbs up. I do truly appreciate it. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you're thinking. I also want to disclose I'm not a financial advisor. This is just for entertainment information purposes. Do not buy or sell based on anything I talk about. Buy or sell after you did your own research, due diligence, any like that investments you're pursuing. So for this short little bit, I'm gonna just kind of talk a little about my brother. He just passed away today, so kind of sad about that, but I knew it was gonna happen. This is my brother. He was never a pilot, but this was him planting trees, and they put him in the cockpit, I guess, and looks pretty cool in there. I just thought I'd share a picture of that. He was 37 years old today. I've documented it that, it's been going through brain cancer. And, sad. But that's life. Seeing him 3 times this week. So, the first time I didn't even see his eyes open. Like he wasn't able to talk in the last week. So yeah, it's tough. He passed away really early, so it's too bad, but that's life. So this is a short-eared owl I saw today with my mom. We were out by Ladner, out by the Village Farms facility. So if you're ever wondering who's securing the Village Farms facility, you got these guys. They're tough, fierce guys, and they're watching out. No, these are really nice owls. They're called short-eared owls, and they're really nice. I was running out of batteries, and I was able to just turn off my camera and then return it on, and I was able to capture this photo. I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, sure, it could have been better, but with the contrast and stuff and my camera, I'm pretty happy with this picture. So I took this yesterday, so just wanted to share with you guys. And yeah, let's get into this. Okay, so today, yeah, I haven't been able to make any videos just by design. I haven't been feeling very, very good mentally with having to come back to Vancouver to see my brother in the hospital. So it is what it is. I don't know, they're probably going to do a memorial sometime soon, and I don't know. But anyways, let's get into this. So MediPharm Labs, as you guys might know, or if you don't know, they were in the crossfires of Hexo wanted to pay their 9.8 million for hit News Strike. When News Strike was acquired by Hexo, they didn't want to pay for it, the extraction. So I don't know what the price was for anything like that, but they want to deal with Valens Growworks. So I don't think they took the oil, but I could be wrong. But regardless, that they're suing for 9.8 million. I have position in MediPharm Labs. I have warrants in Hexo till 2023. So, I'm not really too concerned about Hexo or the labs in the long term. I mean, in the short term, if you're trying to catch a bottom, and you're trying to make your 5 or 10%, it's kind of difficult because you just don't know. It's been very bearish in the cannabis market. it's an interesting story, with cannabis industry is okay, like I almost think it's all these companies break through, right? Like if you're a strong enough company, they break through. Um, and what's happened, you never thought that Tesla was going to get praised on CNBC, and now they're praising Tesla. With Amazon, they used to shit talk Amazon. So realistically, if if you've been following the channel, like I got videos on cannabis will be $1 trillion industry by 2043, which I think is a good possibility. I think there's like talks about like 50 billion, 70 billion industry by 2024. So, with time, it's only going to get bigger. When will it be $1 trillion? I mean, to pinpoint that exact date is kind of impossible because it's just baked into the fact that you don't know when the jurisdictions are going to fall. When's USA going to go legal? When is Europe all over going to go recreational? When is like South Africa, going to get big for medical? So that's all plays into the numbers game. But regardless, if you've been studying the cannabis market, we know that it's going to be bigger than what it is today. And it's been shown, in November, the sales for Canada were about 135 million. So, and a big driver of the revenue in the month was in BC, because BC didn't have any stores really in August, and now they have a lot more stores. They got about 80. So they did about 19 million. So that's about like 14% of Canada. So they used to be like nil in the equation, but now they're becoming a pretty big market for cannabis players in Canada. So if companies are hitting numbers like 10 to 25% in BC, that's not a bad number. Like based on 19 million times 12, which I think is going to be a lot bigger in 2020, because they're going to have more stores, and then there's edibles, and more people are coming towards the legal market, that it's going to start becoming like a 300 to 400 million plus per annum. So that's really the reality of things. And when Ontario opens up and it has like 100 stores, they're still doing like they're set like 35 million or something a month. So they're around like a 400 million a market right now. So with more stores and edibles and stuff like that, it's going to grow to be like 500, 600, 700 million with time, just with the stores and more products, with topicals and all that stuff. So the market's only going to get bigger, but there is a lot of worry in the market with sentiment as far as, which companies are going to fail. And, if you've looked at on the past financials and you looked at like MedMen or, Auroras or Canopies, their SG&A is just too high as far as their revenues go, right? If they were making like $1 billion or 800 million or something like that a year based on their next quarter, then that would be fine for what they're doing. But their SG&A is just too high to support the current revenues in the Canadian and the international market. So that's kind of the worry that everybody knows. And yeah, companies are gonna try to cut their prices on their expenses as far as having all that SG&A and having more workers, cutting the workforce. So it's all trimming and to be lean, mean, fighting machines, right? So you know. So regardless, let's get into this chart watch list. I mean, okay, so Metafarm Labs is down to 281, right? So it did 270, and they did about like 5 million in net income. So they're around like 20 million run rate for net income. So I mean, based on this market cap, they're trading around like a 400 million or something, like 380. I think they have about 150 160 million shares out, so somewhere around 400 million. So I mean, they're really trading around like a 20 to 25 PE ratio based on their last quarter. So I mean, realistically, if you're a long-term investor, I think Metafarm Labs, as long as they don't like completely start being like retarded, they're they're going to be a lot higher than what this price is, and they need to get higher if they want to get on the Nasdaq. So we'll see. They also got the Australian export license, I guess, today. So I mean, things are happening, but yeah, there's going to be some headwinds. There's going to be some dark times and stuff as far as this sector goes, and stock's going to go down. So I mean, you just got to scale in and scale out of scale in if you want to position long term. But if you're if you make profits, like say you buy this stock at like 280, 270, and you get like say like 10,000 shares, like you're playing big ball, right? Then you'd want to sell like probably half when it goes to like 320 or 350, right? And then or you want to have like a mindset stop loss, like okay, I'm going to sell it at like 260 if it goes down that far, because maybe it's going to go down further and further, and you can always catch it on the way back up. Like it's all about the chart patterns, right? When it's like hits a doji and then it hits like the green candles. So you gotta just play the trend, right? Because your trend is your friend. So yeah, so IPR was coming up, and it kind of came down today a little bit, a retraction. Yeah, IPR. I read a newsletter from Motley Fool, and it was a pretty good newsletter. I mean, it was exactly what I'm thinking, but I mean, with a lot more detail than like what I could come across, because I don't spend like hours and hours on research on IPR. But this guy spent a lot of time to explain his synopsis, and yeah, I mean, I agree. His synopsis is basically if it's legalization, then and on top of that, if you got companies like MedMen, right, who can't pay their rentals, then that really is a pitchfork to IPR's business model. So they have to boot them out, and they might have to change the whole like design to set up like some other like the worst case scenarios, right? I mean, but as far as like a full business, I think they're pretty set up, because they're gonna have good companies like Trulieve and Cureleaf and stuff like that to just like work arrangements with them. But there's still a risk with IPR. I mean, yeah, I do think it has a good potential to like 200, $300 potentially in the next few years or less. But you just don't know. It has a very tight float. So I mean, as far as being a $90 stock, I mean, it's a different scenario than a stock like Agriflora that's got a billion shares out, or like ACB that's got 1.2 billion shares out. So that's sharing that. But yeah, let's get to so Valence is hitting a very nice price, 315. At 120 million shares, that's like close to about like a three, I don't know, like 370 million or something like that market cap. So they're getting really tight, like low PE ratio on this. I think Valence, I just it's too busy. I'm just dealing with my brother grieving, I guess, and I didn't want to even open up my trading account today. So regardless, I mean, we'll see on Monday or Tuesday how it's setting up. But these are all good companies that were really in the red. In my opinion, I think really like Metapharm and I like Valence, and GRWG was going up on like very silently, right? Because like they're not like one that people talk about too much. But now they're on the Nasdaq, I believe, and they went up to $5. So I mean, they can sneak up to like $4 to $5 very quick. So I mean, and then when you get up to like say like 550 or 6, who knows where it can go from there, right? So I don't know. I don't think it's a bad idea to keep GRWG on your watch list, because they have a really tight float, and they should be announcing their financials soon. I think when their financials hit, unless they're like boom-tastic, they probably will fall after that. But I mean, before financials per se could go to like $557 or something. Just depends what the street's expecting, I think, and the sentiment in the market and stuff. But I do believe GRWG is one of your safest companies to invest in the cannabis space. True Leave isn't getting any momentum. But it's not below $14, so I'm okay with that. Village Farms at VFF. Yes, I drove past their facility yesterday in Ladner. Yeah, and smells them chronic. Yeah, it looks like they're retrofitting some of the facility, so it's very interesting. I don't have it all dialed in as far as like Village Farms 1, Village Farms 2, Village Farms 3. Like I've looked at it a little bit, and when I did it, like I was like I knew, like I'm on this one side you can park and you can just like I have binoculars because like I use them for birding and stuff, and I could just like see the cannabis, and you see it like so it's cool. But yeah, I think the company's doing very good. The only concern is just that EMH kind of bouldering it, and they need to get that cash from EMH, or they need to have a full ownership that they just like run the whole business and they get all the money from it and all that stuff. Because like the Pure Sun Farms is a pretty good asset in Canada, right? I mean, realistically, if right now we're running, I think that 2020 will be a $2 billion industry, right? We're just early in 2020, right? As far as like things coming to fruition, you know um maybe these stocks won't really move up till the end of the year, for all I know. I mean, maybe they're just going to go down for like ever. But come like I think end of the year for sure, I think it should go boom. But Village Farms has a very nice asset in Canada. I mean, they're growing it at like 55 cents a gram, so they have good cannabis. Purple Sun God has a lot of CBG, which that could be used in a lot of good capsules for like elderly people. I think the CBG, they could find a use for it with the doctors. And they got the Afghan Kush, they got the Island Honey. I like they got a good brand, and they're getting good market share in Ontario. And I don't think they're doing that great in BC. I think they're probably doing about 5 to 10%. I think there's just a lot of competition in BC, and the prices are a little better in BC than they are in Ontario. So like for example, I think like people are probably paying about like on average probably like $13 to $14 for a Broken Coast gram, right? Whereas in BC, you can go to like on the online store and get it for like $11 or something like that. So it's different, right? So then if you're comparing it with like a island Pure Sun Farms of like maybe like $8 gram, and you get better like higher THC and like more crystals on your THC for Broken Coast, then people would like prefer maybe Broken Coast. I mean, there's other things, but I do think they have a pretty good market share in BC, and I think they're in the Canna Farms facility online website. So yeah, I mean they are getting their market share. I don't think they're ever going to be the number one company in Canada, but if they're in the top 6, 7 or whatever, there's a lot of money to be made at like a 10% market for flower. When a 10%, over Canada, if it's like it's $1 billion, that's like 100 million, right? So they're doing like on 9.2 million, they're doing 4.6 million in adjusted operational income. So at like if they were doing 100 million a year, that's like 25 20 what is it? I mean 25 million, they'd probably be able to do like 13 14 million in adjusted operational income a quarter. So then you're talking about like 50 60 million in adjusted operational income a year. So it's a very and very positive EBITDA. So for the Pure Sun Farms, I mean that's a very good asset. And when Canada becomes like a $3 to $4 billion industry, that growth will go to like 150 to 200 million plus. And that's just in the rec market too, right? They're also wholesaling it to like Canna Farms and probably Tilray. I'm suspecting, but I don't know. I think maybe they're gonna get their own medical patients as well. So who knows how the medical Canada market is? But it seems it seems like underrated. The medical market seems kind of underrated. They put a lot of presence on the rec market, but companies such as like Afria really like they're doing like maybe 33 million in revenues, right? But they're really doing like 14, 15 million in medical. So that's really like 40 to 45% of their whole revenues are in medical. So I mean, the medical market's very important. So yeah, sure, the rec market may be bigger, but if companies are very have loyal medical patients, they can reap like some very nice rewards in Canada. I mean, it's never gonna be like a company's never probably gonna do like $1 billion in Canada, maybe, but unless there's like have a special capsule or something like that, like GW Pharma. But the growth there, for the company to get to like 250, 500 million a year in just medical patients. When there's like topical, when the company's got topical, they got all these different capsules and all that stuff, and it's more commonplace and less like negative stigma. So, anyways, Abacus down today, Tilt neutral, 360 neutral. Yeah, I should have sold it at 10 cents. I don't know what I was doing. I guess I figured it was gonna boom up with 360 risk, and it didn't happen. Yeah, I don't know what I want to do with that because I don't like it. I don't want to see it go back to like where I bought it at, like 5.5 cents or something. But eh, so sucky. You're just hoping for the market to change sentiment, and there's just so many bears that take control of the market. And Planet 13's up 1%. Yeah, Scott Sycamore was saying he's like, I only invest in I'm only investing into like Planet 13, Metafarm Labs, and Valence or something like that's what he's only looking to buy. So yeah, I mean we've had lots of conversations about companies and stuff. He's in California. He sees MedMen. He sees MedMen, and you're there, right? You can be at these stores. You can be at these stores, and they're super busy and all that stuff, and they're selling lots of product, but internally the company is just trash. So that's the tough part about being an investor, looking at things at different angles, and being aware of red flags with MedMen, because yeah, there's lots of red flags with MedMen. So Lanet LCI, the cocaine nasal spray that I've been eyeing up, seeing if that's gonna go boom boom boom, but we will see. Even Co had some deal with the topical company, so see how that works out. They are pretty slow with their whole rollout, but they are in Ontario, and I think they're in Alberta and some East Coast provinces. So I don't know. ACB 250. Yeah, it's interesting. Zenabis closed at 14 cents. Not bad. There's a lot of freaking volume. It was at like 12.5 cents. So I don't know. I'm not gonna look at the charts, but yeah, it's been pretty bearish. I know apparently TD was closed today. TD's just so corrupt in my opinion. Basically, what they do, whenever they want to buy lots of shares, they like shut down TD, so then people can't buy shares, and then they're the only ones buying shares or something. That's my whole philosophy. There's thesis to things, but I've seen it before back in like 2018 when things were all bumbling, and they did that, and yeah, I just don't really trust any banks, and yeah, it's unfortunate that they have the power to do what they do because it's really fucking corrupt. But hey, we don't know everything. I can't prove it, but I can say it. So tin at 16,452. Not, I don't really know a company that directly produces a tin, but I think Hudson Bay Minerals probably does, but it could be wrong. I know they deal with a lot of different metals. There's different ones. MCX nickel coming up, but it's just trading around like doji-ish style. Doji style is like it's like uncertain, right? So basically, like I don't know if it's gonna go up or down, but most likely the trend's up with nickel, because it's gone down from like 18,000 for weeks on end, and then just seems like, and it kind of is connected with crude. If crude like hits a certain price, and crude probably they're gonna have to try to rig it up like with some type of Iran stuff, or some type of shooting, like some bomb thingy or whatever type of missile or something like that in the Middle East to try to uh, rig oil upwards. So that's my feelings. And yeah, gold's almost at 1600, so it's doing pretty good. So I'm going to share a stock that I think is a good pick for multiple reasons. Uh, Gold, silver's up $18. $18 is a very good zone to be in. Of course, it'd be better if it went to 19 to 20 and be in the 20 range. Palladium at 2200. So yeah, Palladium. Okay, so this company is connected with all these, and they have a streaming partners. They're streaming partners with the biggest companies like First Majestic Silver, FRAG, like Pan American Silver, some other ones, silvers, like some of the bigger, I think probably even like Fortuna Silver too, but I'm not really like bullish. There was some negative news on Fortuna Silver. So I really think this is a great company. It's called Wheaton Precious Metals, WPM, and they pay a certain amount of money per ounce to get their ounces from these players. But when palladium's at $2,200, now gold's like I don't know what they pay exactly, but I think they pay like $400 or something like that for gold. So every ounce they get, they just get amazing profit margins on for the commodity space. I mean, if you're talking cannabis space, sure, the commodities can be much better, but their companies like Aurora Cannabis or Canopy screw it up with their crazy amounts of SG&A. So with a streaming company, they have very little SG&A. Like, they don't need to hire that many people at all. It's not like a miner. Miner's got lots of expenses, but so Wheaton Precious Metals gets palladium, silver, and gold. So they used to be Silver Wheaton. So a lot of their revenues are in silver. I think it's somewhere around 50% or so. So when silver goes to $25 to $30, which should happen sometime in the next year to 2 years, potentially. I'm not saying certainly, but based on the fact that they're printing so much money, I think that silver should command a lot, as well as the supply side. Apparently, they need it for electric vehicles. I don't know how much, but this is what First Majestic Silver guy said, Keith Neumeyer. Yeah, I just think that Wheaton Precious Metal is a good, safe company. I do think about buying it. I was thinking about buying it yesterday. I just couldn't pull the trigger on about 25 shares. So, that's $1,000 in Canadian. So that's what I was gonna do. But I didn't pull the trigger. I'm gonna think about it over the weekend because I would like to have it. I think that when silver goes to 30 or 40 or 50 or $60, excuse me, it's just gonna be flying off the hook. The share price is gonna be like $100 to $150 to $200 at that time. It's very institutionally owned. The Wheaton Precious Metal. It has a very high market cap, very high PE ratio, but they are also giving a dividend, and it's just a big dog in the space, and all that money kind of wants to flow into it, but it hasn't really reaped the rewards of the silver bull market. So when the silver bull market takes shape and you start seeing silver, or even when gold starts going to like $1,800, $1,900, that's going to be beneficial to gold, as well as silver when it goes to 25 to 30 or $40 in the next year or 2 years or longer. Yeah, I think that there's a lot of upside. I mean, it has gone up a lot in the last year or two, and that's that's why I don't pull a trigger that fast on it. But I think if you want to hedge your bets in the market, with inflation, as well as silver being a hot commodity, as well as gold being a hot commodity, as well as palladium being a hot commodity in the next coming years, I don't think you can really find a safer company than Wheaton Precious Metal. to have all those commodities in the same bucket. So that's what I think. Wheat and precious metal, and yeah, that's what's up. Short-eared owl says goodbye, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed this session on commodities and cannabis stocks, and just a little thorough input on the weekly and how things are kind of shaping up. And I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I'll be back trying to make a bit more videos, but I know I got to go through a memorial for my brother. But things will heal with time, and thank you guys for the support. And yeah, keep compounding your info, listen to my lingo, and Shaka Cup. Peace. I'm out.